Congressman Langevin, who all of you are seeking to replace, was one of President Biden's most vocal critics among Democrats last year during the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Congressman Langevin called the pullout, quote, a catastrophe, and Langevin said the U.S. should have kept 2,500 troops and personnel in Afghanistan rather than exited entirely. Ms. Morgenthau, was Langevin right or wrong?
Well, first of all, I want to thank the men and women in our armed services who have put their lives at risk. My father served in World War II in the 2nd Cavalry under General Patton, and I know how serious it is to be out there, and I just want to thank them from the service, from the bottom of my heart, for doing what it is that they're doing. Look, this was a very difficult situation. I think it was an important thing that we had, the president had made a promise to do it, and he exercised on that promise. I agree that there were some things that could have done better, but I think ultimately it was the right decision. And
so you disagree with Congressman Langevin that you should have kept that base of troops there that he wanted?
I think that the president made the right decision, and yes, it sounds like I would disagree with Congressman Langevin.
Mr. Magaziner, same question. Do you agree it was a catastrophe, as Congressman Langevin said, and the U.S. should have kept 2,500 troops there?
Well, my first message to all of the Rhode Islanders who served in Afghanistan and Iraq is that the work that you did over there mattered. You saved lives, you served the interests of our country, and we're proud of you, and we thank you for it. We could not stay in Afghanistan forever. I think everybody understands that, including all of the service members, members of the Royal National Guard, and others who I've spoken to about it. Clearly, the withdrawal was not executed well, and part of that was because of faulty intelligence on the ground. Nobody expected the Taliban to take control of so much territory so quickly. That being said, what's done is done. It was the right thing to get out. The execution was not what it should have been. We have to look forward and focus on threats all across the world, including in Afghanistan, where, once again, we just took out the leader of al-Qaeda, which is a good thing that we should all be very happy about.
Mr. Siegel, same question. Congressman Langevin, right or wrong on Afghanistan?
So I, of course, would also thank veterans for their service in Afghanistan and Iraq and otherwise. I'm proud to have been endorsed last week by a group of progressive veterans from across the country, but a group that was partially founded by Rhode Islanders called Common Defense, that supported the withdrawal and encouraged it to happen even sooner than it did. So I think the president made the right decision here, and I've been proud of efforts that I've been a part of over the course of recent years to help push for an end to the forever wars in Afghanistan and otherwise, and to elevate Congress's use of its constitutional authority to declare when we do and do not go to war that too often has been subverted and helped lead us into disastrous conflicts.
Ms. Fox, same question. Is Congressman Langevin right or wrong about keeping troops in Afghanistan?
I also would like to echo my colleagues up here tonight. Thank you for everyone who has served overseas, particularly in Afghanistan. We owe you a debt of tremendous gratitude. Again, it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback on these things. Obviously, the withdrawal from Afghanistan did not go well, but now we need to look forward. It is right to be out of our forever wars, and I think, as a member of Congress, knowing that democracy is under threat around the world, that we should prioritize diplomacy, we should be continuing to support our allies, and we should make sure that we have a strong national defense. For me personally, too, my bar would be very, very high for any kind of action deploying our troops. My youngest brother, Tim, is a Navy veteran, and there were many days that we had no idea where he was. We knew about where he was, and we are grateful for his service and his bravery, but I also know the tremendous stress that it left back here on his mom and dad and brothers and sisters. So as I lead in Congress on these issues, that will be my bar, knowing that these are young men and women who are going off to serve.